So, do I have to appear in court? So this question will come up. Do I have to appear in court? I get a notice in the mail. It says something about there's a court hearing coming up, or I get a divorce case is filed against me, or whatever it is, and this thing shows up. So the question becomes, do I have to go to this? Do I have to appear at this hearing? So that's a good question. I mean, you should probably assume, first of all, a good assumption would be any court hearing that you get notice of, you should assume that you have to be at that hearing. And then the question becomes what to expect, what's going to go on at that hearing. There's all sorts of different things that come up with divorce and family law, the type of work that we do, with the types of court hearings that you're going to see, and what you're going to want to know what to expect and what's going on with this thing. Is this, did you get served with divorce papers? And there's a motion hearing. A motion is a request, so a motion is a written request for the court to do something. So that means that's a court hearing that someone requested to be heard before the court. So that's going to mean that's usually something more urgent, or at least what the person who filed it thinks is urgent. So you might get served with divorce papers, and there's a motion in there for parenting time. There's a request for parenting time, or maybe a request to suspend your parenting time. Let's say your wife, ex-wife, mother of your kids, whoever it is, has some issue with whatever's going on and doesn't want you seeing the kids, or wants to restrict when you see them. So she files something with the court called a motion, and they schedule that for a hearing. So then you get that in the mail. You should plan on, you have to be there. You have to go to these court hearings. Not showing up at a court hearing has its definite consequences. You can't just assume, first of all, you can't just assume, well, I'll show up at the hearing and I'll just tell them I need more time to get a lawyer. I need more time to do whatever. You should always get advice first. You can't necessarily count on that. The court's not required to adjourn the hearing, to postpone the hearing because you're looking for a lawyer or want to get some advice. You'd want to do all that ahead of time. Even if you can't hire a lawyer for the hearing, you'd want to get advice about it so you know what to expect, know what's going on in case you're expected to go forward with the hearing. The way the court looks at these things, if you don't have an attorney, you're expected to act as your own attorney, and you have to respond to things and do whatever that's required. So depending on what the hearing is, you're required to be there, you're required to attend it. There might be other things that you're required to do ahead of time. So for example, somebody serves you with notice of a court hearing and it's a motion hearing. That means that you're also required to file a response. So the motion is their request. They want child support, they want parenting time, whatever it is they're asking the court to do. You're then required to file a response so the court knows your side of the story. That doesn't all happen at the hearing. They don't have time for that. They don't schedule time for that. They want to look at a written request, a written motion. They see what the person requested, and then they want to see your response, a written response. So that's what that looks like. You'll also see with, for example, like Oakland County divorce cases. We do different counties and we do family law, divorce, whatever here, but family law, divorce, custody, support, parenting time is what we do at our law firm. So we deal with that world. We deal with what are called the family court division of the circuit court. So Oakland County is a circuit court. So in Oakland County, the day you file a divorce case, they give you back the paperwork that you then serve the other person with. There are 2 court hearings right in that packet. There's what they call an early intervention conference, and then there's a settlement conference. So there's 2 different court hearings that have 2 different purposes. So yes, you need to plan on being at those. Now those dates might change. Those are subject to change. They're generated by a computer. But you should assume that court date's going forward unless you hear otherwise from the court. One trap people fall into is, well, they'll say, well, my wife told me I didn't have to go to that, or my wife told me that was no big deal. It's not up to your wife to be able to do that for you. It's a question of if there's a court hearing scheduled, you should assume that you have to go to it. And it's not your wife, it's not her call whether you have to be at a hearing, or ex-girlfriend, or whoever this other person is on your court case. So you want to keep that in mind as you're going forward and doing things. Court hearings are mandatory. That's really the best way you got to look at it. So whether it's a motion, whether it's court hearings that are scheduled at the beginning of a divorce, other counties, it's Wayne County is another county we do court cases in. We do divorce, family law. When a divorce is started in Wayne County, we can look online and see the first court hearing that's already been automatically scheduled. Those get scheduled by computer. They're a few months out usually, so not a big deal, not to worry, but you want to be aware of them. It's your duty. Once a lawsuit's been started, it's your duty to, you're obligated to look and see when the court hearings are. You can't count on other people, your wife, her lawyer, whoever it is, or the mother of your kids, whoever it is, to be telling you about court hearings, telling you they're coming up, telling you what they're for. You can't count on that. It's up to you to be looking at all that. So it's important to get advice early on. So even if you're not going to hire an attorney, you're going to want to know, well, how do I find out about all this? How do I know what court hearings are coming up? How do I know when they're scheduled? Is this a county, am I getting divorced, or my family law matter, is it in a county that has information online? Is there a website? Is there a court case? Is there a case lookup, which a lot of them call it? Can I look up my case and see when the hearing is, what the dates are, what's coming up, the hearing that's currently going on? Can I see something about what is going to happen at that? Because this other thing with notice of court dates, and something to keep in mind on that is, once you're served with papers, after that, they're only required to send it to your regular mail. So, and then depending on what they've requested and what the court hearing's for, those are always just required regular mail. So that could get lost, could get delayed, who knows? I got off the phone with somebody a little while ago. He just got this thing like Tuesday evening, he found out about it, and the court hearing's on Monday. Sometimes people will tell us it's like 2 days before, and they just found out about it because it was in the U.S. mail. It just got delayed, whatever happened. Because the court rule, when I'm sending out notice of a court hearing, I only have to give 9 days notice by mail. So, by the time I mail it and send it out, and maybe, whatever, even if I comply with it and I do it properly, 9 days by mail doesn't mean I'm going to get it right away. Those days include weekends. So, the 9 days by mail includes days of the week when there's not letters even being delivered, like Sunday. So it's really working against you, that the clock's ticking. If someone's filing something requesting a court hearing that's going to happen right away, you might not get notice of it until it's really, really coming up on the date. There's stories of people in, some of the counties we're practicing, they don't get notice of the hearing until after the hearing's already happened. So that's no good either. So you want to be aware of your court hearings. You want to know if there's a way to look information up online. You want to know how to do it, because you want to be able to double check what's going on. You get something in the mail, you can check it out, verify. If nothing else, call the court, ask them what's going on. They're required to talk to you, so they will. Find out, is there a court hearing on Wednesday at 8:30, or is this something that's been adjourned? I might get something in the mail, and by the time it gets to me in the mail, maybe the other attorney's already changed the date, or maybe something else. So you want to be aware of what's going on. You do want to be at your court hearings. You have to appear at your court hearings. But how those court hearings get scheduled, what happens at those hearings, what you need to do to prepare, what you should be expecting is all different. It depends on the county you're in. It depends on their process, how they do things. It depends on what the hearing's for. A typical divorce case, especially when there's children, a typical divorce case, minor children, there are 3 court appearances minimum in really every county we deal with. So you got these different steps along the way, and they're all different. One's a pretrial, one's an early intervention conference, one's a settlement conference, one's a first trial date, whatever it is. They all have a different purpose. So you got to know what you're dealing with, where these court hearings are happening. In Oakland County, there's 2 different buildings. In Wayne County, there's 2 different buildings for the court and the friend of the court. Friend of the court is just, part of the court system. But you want to know, if you're going to a court hearing in person and it's not going to be over Zoom or by phone or something, you need to know, where is your court hearing? That's another good question too. Be prepared, know where you're going ahead of time. You don't want to find out the day of that you went to the wrong building and there's 2 different places you could have gone, and now you got to get over to the other one, and now you're late, or maybe they proceed without you. So you want to be watching for that. I don't want court hearings going on without you there. Bad things always happen. When that occurs, you can't count on the court saying, or the judge saying, well, we'll give him more time, we're not sure he was served, or we don't know. Not necessarily. They're not there to protect your rights as an advocate. They're just there as a judge, as part of the court system. So when you don't appear in court, that's not like some kind of shock to people. People miss court all the time, and bad things happen when they do it. So you want to be aware of it. Make sure you show up in court. Make sure you know what court hearings are coming up, what to expect, where you're going, and the whole thing. I mean, it's not overwhelming, but there's certainly a step-by-step process to understanding it and dealing with it the right way. So that's what you want to be looking into. So yeah, hopefully that helps.